Let's go to move on to the next
Hey,
guest,
can you hear
guys.
me?
Sure can. Do you support Trump?
You're froze up. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Do you support Trump?
I do.
Oh, Jesus. How old are you? Just curious.
I'm 46.
46. Do you consider yourself to be a pro-America patriot?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked the first guest of the day. Do pro-American patriots care about core American values like law, order, and respect to the Constitution?
I do.
So if we had somebody run for president that was lawless, disorderly, and didn't respect the Constitution, wanted to infringe on it, would you ever support them?
Well, it depends what it is. I'd actually called because you'd mentioned Planned Parenthood. I was wanting to talk about that with you.
All
Do you
right.
support Planned Parenthood?
Yeah, for the most part, there's a lot that Planned Parenthood does that's just objectively and quantifiably good for this world.
Okay. And a few minutes ago, you said that you were going to take that person's dollar, multiply it by 100, and give it to Planned Parenthood. Correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that Planned Parenthood does today that are good. Are you going to bring up Margaret Sanger?
I am. Yeah, I
Yeah,
am. I
I'm
mean,
familiar. So you're gonna say the typical argument. Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, was a raging racist, which I'm pretty sure is true. She actually died before any and all abortions were legal in this country. And when I'm saying that Planned Parenthood is good today, I'm not saying that its roots were good, but I am saying what it does today is good. Just objectively, I mean, they provide
okay.
medical health care for moms, not just through abortion,
Okay.
but also birth control and other parental needs. And I think that they generate positive outcomes in society at large. So,
Okay,
yeah.
and so you're aware of what theory Margaret Sanger had with Planned Parenthood,
Well, I'm not sure if it
with
was like with Planned Parenthood, but she supported eugenics, right?
yes, and population control of the African American community,
Yeah, yeah, she did support that. Super bad person. Okay, I don't support what
and
Planned Parenthood
and
does today because I
okay,
support Margaret Sanger. I support Planned Parenthood today because of the positive outcomes that they generate for women and girls in this country. In fact, I would argue, right, that Planned Parenthood disproportionately helps black women compared to white women in this country because of the socioeconomic status and it's in the difference between the average socioeconomic status of the average black American compared to that of the average white American onset by slavery, its aftermath, and systemic racism, right? There are more black women under like particular financial stresses to a higher degree than white women because of those factors. And that is a main motivating reason insofar as why women get abortions. And there's a disproportionate amount of women that are get abortions that are black women for that reason. So if we were to just criminalize access to abortion and say Planned Parenthood can operate in any state, we'd be disproportionately disenfranchising and harming black women.
okay, and that's where we probably disagree at. So you would agree that Margaret Sanger, her original idea with Planned Parenthood and the movement toward birth control was to keep the African American population from growing, which is eugenics.
Towards birth control, I think that you're right. Towards abortion, I don't
Okay.
think that you're right because abortion wasn't legal until she was dead.
Okay. So her intended consequence was to prevent the population from growing, and it's worked perfectly. What her intended consequence was for Planned Parenthood by putting the centers in the ghetto, specifically in the ghetto.
Okay, I
So what we
don't think
got,
it's proper to call places the ghetto or to associate black people with the ghetto. I think that's a racist. I think that's an incredibly racist stereotype. But continue.
oh, okay, I disagree with that. But anyway,
Okay, of course you do.
so like if you look at in Mississippi, for instance, 78% of the abortions that are performed in Mississippi are on black women.
So 34%
Georgia.
of all abortions in this country are for black women. 34 nationwide.
Yeah, and I'm just going on the state right now. So Mississippi is 78% is performed on black women. Georgia, it's upwards 65%
Yeah.
are performed on black women. Okay, so if you look over the last 30, 40 years, the African American population has just barely grown. I mean, it's gone from what 12% to roughly 14% in 40 years. So whether you agree with Planned Parenthood being a racist organization or not, the same intended consequence that Margaret Sanger fought for
Yeah.
has happened.
Yeah, I think that you're virtue signaling. I don't think that you care. I could prove it.
You can prove it.
Yeah, the reason why a disproportionate amount of black women access and get abortions compared to white women is the reason that I already told you, and it is the fact that they struggle from financial instability to a higher degree than white women because of systemic racism, slavery, and its aftermath, leading to a lack of generational wealth, leading to lower socioeconomic standards because of less opportunity, more stigmatization within particular work fields, and like a lower like per student funding on average for the average black student in school in America compared to the average white student in school in America. Not to mention the over-policings of disproportionately black neighborhoods, so on and so forth. Okay, it leads to more financial stability amongst black women when compared to white women. And financial instability is the main reason why women access abortion. But two and two together, all of a sudden, you will come to the conclusion that a disproportionate amount of black women access abortion compared to white women because they experience financial instability to a higher extent. So are you saying that you would support, right, reparations specifically for black women to focus and hone in on this fact that they're more likely to experience financial stability, to fix that fact, so then there's not a disproportionate amount of black women accessing abortion, and we could end, right, this decades-old machine of racism killing black children, in your mind?
Well, hold on before you pivot on me. Let's
It's not a
finish
pivot.
the
I just want to see.
conversation.
I just want to make sure that you're proactively supporting solutions to the problems that you're creating in your head.
And we'll discuss that. We'll discuss your pivot in just a second.
It
But
doesn't
what
sound
I'm
like you
saying
do,
is,
right? You just want to call it racist to stigmatize women's
So-
health care, so then you could try to make the women feel bad, right? Blame the
No.
fact that a disproportionate amount of black women access abortion because of financial instability onset by systemic racism when compared to white women on the
No,
black
no.
women, and then make them
So
feel
you're
like
not
they're
gonna let me
doing something
speak.
racist compared to pointing
you're
out the
not for
racist
civil
systems that are in
discourse.
place that cause this issue to exist to begin with.
so you're not really for civil discourse on the matter. You're not going to let me speak.
I'm for civil discourse on the matter, but I'm also for passionate discourse on the matter. And I'm, sir, very passionate about this topic.
And I am too. I am too. I think that if you go through history of Planned Parenthood and look at what Margaret Sanger was trying to do, it's been accomplished. And
So
another
you've
thing
already
that
said
she
that, and I've already
did-
responded to that. You are not willing to further the conversation because
Okay,
if we do, then
so
you
you
prove
do
me wrong.
support Planned Parenthood. You support Margaret Sanger's theory, correct?
I don't support eugenics, but I do support Planned Parenthood because I support women's access
Okay,
to
but
healthcare.
it's the same. It's the same intended consequence that she planned so many years ago. It's exactly what she wanted has come true.
Okay, so Margaret Sanger wanted women to access abortion, and she thought that she wanted women to access abortion because it'd help her in furthering her racist agenda.
It's population control that has worked. The black population has barely increased
So how about
in
this?
40 years.
So how about this? I don't want to further racist agendas, but I do want to further women's rights and access to health care. And if you're saying that this is a racist agenda in the context of abortion because a disproportionate amount of black women access it, well, then let's fix the reason why that's the case and eliminate the inequities that have resulted in black women experiencing. This is a racist agenda, and let's fix the reason why that's the case and financial instability.
That the women are accessing more by choice is the exact reason that Margaret Sanger
You're
formulated.
not responding to what
To
I'm
make
saying,
it-
sir. This is supposed to be a conversation. Can you please respond to what I just said? You were not listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. You were being dense and you were ignoring them because they're not conforming to your agenda of trying to blame women for accessing healthcare and calling them racist in the process, even when they're black. Okay? Right? I'm going to need you to work with me here. I'm going to need you at the bare minimum to respond to what I'm saying. I will happily repeat it, but sir, I just need you to tell me that if I do repeat it, you'll actually listen and actually respond. Can I get that confidence from you?
Yeah, go ahead. Ask the question.
I don't want to further racist agendas, but I do want to advance women's rights and access to healthcare, including abortion. So if you're telling me that in furthering access to abortion, access to healthcare on behalf of women, that is furthering a racist agenda since a disproportionate amount of women that access abortion are black, and we can identify the reason why that's the case is because of the higher levels of financial instability experienced among black Americans compared to white Americans, let's focus on what is causing that disproportionate level of financial instability, like systemic racism, slavery and its aftermath, a lack of generational wealth, over-policing of black neighborhoods, stigmatization in the workforce, a lack of opportunity, and lower per capita student funding if they're black compared to white in schools. And let's try to fix that compared to just banning women's access to abortion. So instead of, like, from your perspective, furthering a racist agenda in the process of furthering women's rights, we could actually dismantle that racist agenda and still further women's rights.
Yeah, and I can agree with that to an extent. I can say this. Okay, I graduated in '97. I went to a predominantly black school. In fact, it was probably 70% black to 30% white. In the South, we all grew up together. There was very, very little racism. I mean, we all grew up together. And
Yeah, very little I believe you, but go ahead.
okay, and that's your prerogative if you don't want to believe me. But I'm telling you, I mean, I grew up in the South with plenty of black people that I went to school with, and no, there wasn't a lot of racism. We all got along quite well, to be honest, and still do. But the thing is so there is a lot of people in my class who went on, a lot of black women and black men who went on to do way better than a lot of the people in our class.
Yeah.
The color
So you
didn't
said that
hold
there
them
wasn't a
back.
lot. You said that there wasn't a lot of racism in the '80s or '90s in the South. So in the '80s, right, the KKK publicly lynched a black man in mob style.
Okay, I'm talking about the specific school I went to. Nobody was lynched. Everybody got
Just more
along.
like the literal public
What?
lynching done by the KKK.
No, I'm not necessarily ignoring that. I'm
With the
just
white
telling you my
hoods,
personal
right? The
experience.
fire, the cross, and everything.
So tell me this: why was there some black people that went on to do way better than the white people in our class? I mean,
Sure.
what you're saying is
Yeah.
inherently racist
So
by
I can.
saying that they can't do that.
So I
I
didn't know.
mean,
So I think that you're strawmanning my position. My position was that there is particular systemic limiters in which would lead to less opportunity for the average black individual compared to that of the average white individual, not no opportunity for any black individual and only opportunity for white individuals. And B, you are shifting the goalpost because of instead of responding to my position to debunk your very terrible argument that's pro banning abortion, you are instead now just asking me to help explain racism to you, which I'm happy to do, but I'm not happy to do that when it is being used as a pivot.
well, no, I'm just hearing that you're saying that when I know very successful people who would argue with you and say, no, we haven't been held back at all.
So then why do you think the average socioeconomic standard is higher for a white American compared to that of a black American? What's the cause of that?
I think a lot of it's population.
No, that's per capita.
Okay, and I would say that
So what's the cause of it?
there's a certain amount of disadvantage
Oh,
to
okay.
the black community,
Okay, so now you're agreeing. Thank you so much.
financially.
Do you want to explain to me why 86% of the exonerations in the criminal justice system are for black Americans who only account for 14% of the population?
I don't. I'm not
No,
educated on the
because you'd
topic,
have to say,
but
well, that's systemic racism. Do you want to explain to me why only 5% of Fortune 500 company CEOs are black, meanwhile they account for 15% of the population at large? Oh, well, you can't, because you'd have to invoke like systemic racism there too. See, these are the facts
so
that
so
prove systemic racism, and you
so
can't
your
engage with them
answer
if you
is
deny systemic racism. I'm sorry.
so to circle back, your answer is to send them to Planned Parenthood and have them abort their kids so that their population can't grow anymore.
Well, I mean, actually, the reason why I think women should be able to access abortion has nothing to do with race and all to do with advancing women's rights. Because I believe that a woman would be acting upon her basic human right of bodily autonomy, a morally invaluable life form, right? But
But
actually,
you're
I would
okay
argue,
with it.
I would argue here for a ban on abortion is racist, because in doing so, you are disproportionately negatively affecting black women.
So you do agree that the black population should stay stagnant, sort of like what Margaret Sanger planned when she started Planned Parenthood?
Okay, I'll repeat it for the last time. I think that women should be able to access health care.
So, but you're okay with the population staying stagnant in the black community? Yes or no?
I mean, if that's the outcome of if that's the outcome of women accessing healthcare, then I would say like I'm still okay with women accessing healthcare. Maybe what we can
So
do is
you're
address the reason why there's a disproportionate amount of black women accessing abortion and try to fix that
so
instead,
you're
right?
for
Which we've already gone
population
over.
control,
No,
which is a Nazi philosophy.
I'm not a Nazi because I think women should be able to access healthcare.
Well, and
Like you're never going to
what?
be able to convince me that I'm a Nazi because I think that women have bodily autonomy. You're never going to be able to
Well,
convince me that I'm a
okay.
Nazi because I think that women should have a right to make decisions over their own body with their medical
Well,
health professionals instead of having
then let's
racist
go
white men
back.
like Donald Trump run our country that have been calling all
Okay.
black people lazy since the 90s being able to make that
Okay,
decision
and this
for
isn't
them.
about
You're not going to be able to convince me that I'm a Nazi because I think it is wrong that every single day in America there are 60 pregnant rape victims per day denied access to abortion in 10 of our states. You're not going to be able to convince me that I'm a Nazi because women like Adriana Smith, okay, had their bodies used as literal incubators, right, for these fetuses to then have them carved out of their dead bodies while they're still connected to life support. You're not going to be able to convince me that I'm a Nazi because I hold these benevolent, true values close to my heart. All right. And honestly, dude, if anything, once again, the only person with racist ideals and beliefs here is you. Why? Because in advocating for a ban on abortion, you are disproportionately negatively disenfranchising black women. The main cause of poverty within women in this country today is motherhood. And when we look at areas with pro-life legislation compared to areas with pro-choice legislation, they have lower levels of income, they have lower qualities of life, they have higher levels of poverty, higher levels of crime, and lower levels of employment. Okay, and all of these outcomes and more will be disproportionately experienced by black women in banning abortion, since they account for a disproportionate amount of the women that are getting it while it maintains its legality. Okay? And then for the very last time here, you are thinking about this topic so one-dimensionally, it's making my head spin. You are saying disproportionate amount of women that access abortion are black, therefore disproportionate amount of fetuses that are aborted are black, therefore population control of black Americans. All right? If you are hell-bent, right, on solving this issue that you see, well, what I want you to do is focus on what is causing it. What is causing a disproportionate amount of women that are accessing abortion to be black is the higher levels of financial instability that we've already went over inside of, for the average black American compared to the average white American. Fix that issue, and then we'll no longer see a disproportionate amount of women that are accessing abortion to be black. So what I want you to do moving forward is to say what's causing this and how can we fix it. But of course, you will never do that a day in your life because in all reality, you don't care, and you're just trying to play the virtue signal card to try to find a way to advance your ironically racist and misogynistic agenda of banning abortion.
So this was not a debate. It's just let's hear Dean speak, I guess, because you're not letting your guest speak.
Yeah, if you can't handle the nuance, you're not in the right live. I'm not going to do the 5 words on paper with Gran.
Okay, well, and to go back in history, and since you say you're not a Nazi and you don't support Nazi,
yes, run away to history. Don't respond to Dean's argument. Awesome.
Okay, well, you're not responding to what I said.
I've responded to every single thing that you've said.
So in the Nuremberg trials, when they brought the Nazi eugenist up on trial in the United States, what defense did they use to avoid the death penalty? They used the Margaret Sanger defense, the founder of Planned Parenthood, who openly supported eugenics and controlling the black population, which is still happening today, Dean. If you support that, you're supporting exactly what they said.
Dude, you're just going back to saying the one fucking sentence because it's all that you know.
So,
I mean, I would actually, I gotta say, I would legitimately
and
hate
selling
to be
it
you
as
right
healthcare.
now. I'd legitimately hate to be you right now because you're just getting fucking cooked. Okay, let me see if I can make this super.
Not really. I'm not the one that's supporting population control.
Let me make
like
this,
a Nazi.
Let me make this so fucking clear to you, you delusional old man. I'm not for population control. I'm for the advancement of
Apparently
women's
you
rights.
are, because the population hasn't grown any in 40 years. Can you not get that through your fucking skull, dude?
Can you not get it through your fucking skull that if you want to reduce the amount of black women that are accessing abortion,
you're reducing them. You're reducing the whole population,
and make it proportionate to the amount of white women that access abortion, then focus on why those black women are making that conscious will decision, which is the high levels of financial instability experienced amongst
they're told that it's health care by people like you. They're told it's health care, like by people like you. Exactly what Margaret Sanger intended
So
is
that
to
doesn't
sell it as health
so
care.
that doesn't explain why more black women access abortion disproportionately compared to white women, because I'm not just telling black women that abortion is healthcare. I'm telling everybody that.
Well, and possibly because by design, all the Planned Parenthoods was put in the black neighborhoods.
Oh, okay.
Easy
Okay.
access.
All right.
Sell it as health care. It's women's rights. Although, if you look at the consequences of what happened,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah. So how many times are you going to repeat this? Like, this is your fifth time repeating this, dude. Fifth time. Fifth fucking time. Insane. So
okay,
how about we try a fill in the blank game to try to get through your fucking skull here.
well,
Right?
it's a
Most women,
it's-
let's try to fill in the blank game. Most women that access abortion do so for this reason.
okay, and
What is
if
that
you
reason?
support
Answer my
controlling
no.
population,
Answer. You can't even answer my question. Most women that access abortion do so for what reason?
I guess I'm assuming financial.
Would we reduce the amount of women that are accessing abortion if we were to reduce financial instability in young women and girls?
Yes, and I'll tell you one way you can do that.
Oh,
By letting
are
their
you saying?
population grow
Listen,
to where
listen,
they have an
listen,
equal
listen, listen.
chance.
Are you saying? Are you saying that we could reduce the amount of black women that are accessing abortion, not by infringing on their human rights and taking that right away, but rather by focusing on proactive solutions to reduce the financial insecurity that we see to disproportionately higher levels within black Americans compared to white Americans because of racism, slavery, and its aftermath? Yes or no?
I don't necessarily believe it's from that.
Oh, but
I
you
believe a
actually you
lot
just said
of
it was from that. You just said that we could reduce the
not
amount of
from
women
not
that are
from
accessing abortion, right? If we were to focus on fixing, right, the issue of financial instability in women and girls, right? You agreed to that already. So obviously the logical implication there would be, well, right, maybe the reason why there's a disproportionate amount of black women that are accessing abortion compared to white women is because they experience higher levels of financial instability for the reasons that I've already gone over. So if you want to fix that disproportionate statistic, instead of infringing on their human rights by banning their access to abortion, let's actually help them and focus on systems to eliminate the racist difference between the average socioeconomic standard of of black Americans compared to white Americans.
or we could help their population grow to where their population is equal to the white population. What's wrong with that?
I mean, wouldn't it be
Instead, you would rather keep it the same, obviously.
wouldn't it like reducing the
Hey,
amount of black women that want to get abortions because of racist financial instability and the differences compared to that of the same of like the average white American be like increasing the black population in this country?
so Dean,
He can't
look,
answer that. He can't answer that. Welcome in,
this
Santana. He got absolutely fucking gagged right there. He can't answer that goddamn question. Go ahead.
also he's been gaslighting me this entire time. Literally since the 2000, the black population has grown. Right, the actual black population has grown, going from. Let me make sure I have this number right. From has grown by 31%. There's an additional 45.4 million black people. The multiple categories within the country have grown, including multiracial people. The
What?
category that has not stop talking. The category that has not grown is non-Hispanic white people. It's down from 63.8% to 59.3%. So when you talk about the abortion in the black community, yes, abortion is higher in the black community relative to the points that Dean actually already mentioned. But when you talk about the growth of the black community, you can just leave your racist talking point at home because you're wrong. Like literally, the black
Okay,
community is growing,
so
and one reason why the abortion is so high is because black women specifically are the most educated group in the country, and so when they have to make a decision as far as whether they want to go about, progressing their life and their career and those types of things versus just, having a baby if it's unintentional, they opt to actually take care of themselves and do the things. That's
okay,
why they have such a higher rate of actually being pregnant and having kids at an older age. So again,
and
your
if they're
point is absolutely
educated, if they're
wrong.
the most educated women in the United States, Dean's saying that they're not. I mean, he's saying that they're held back because of systemic racism. But yet you're saying they're the most educated women in the United States. So which is it? Are they being held back or are they
Black
the smartest people
black
in the
women
country?
It's both. It's both. While black
It's
women
both.
are the
Okay.
most, while black women are the most educated group in the country, they're also under this Trump administration the group that has been impacted the most by the spike in unemployment. Like
Yep.
disproportionately, black women have been targeted for unemployment. So it's both.
Yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
if
And
anything,
what?
this should just prove racism more to you because it's
Okay.
crazy that it's both. The average
And
socioeconomic
what
standing
policy
of a
did
black
Trump
American is
pass?
lower than that to the average white American.
And what policy did
And
Trump
one
pass
moment,
to
and
do that?
at that same time, black women are still the most educated demographic in this country. It makes it even worse. And now, before we move on and shift the goalposts here, I actually want you to respond to Santana's comments about how the black population in America has been growing, but yet the white population in America has actually been disproportionately slimming. So now are you going to flip the argument? It's no longer racist to black women.
Well, the black population was roughly 13%. It's 14% now. So you're talking about it's come up 1% in 25 years.
And how
I
many
mean,
percentage? Yes, it's gone up percentage wise.
okay.
Like white individuals in America.
Well, I think any form of population
No,
control.
an answer. You now think that abortion is racist to white women and white individuals in this country.
I think control, and that's exactly what it's accomplished. I was like, hey,
Okay, you're not answering the question here, though, because this was the crux of your argument as it related to black individuals in the country. So now I'm just curious. Now that we've learned empirically speaking, the opposite is true. The white population has grown. Meanwhile, the black population has grown percentage-wise, and the white population has shrunken percentage-wise. Right?
I would have to
the
see
real
the
issue with
statistics
access to
on it.
abortion, right? Not with
I would
black
need to
individuals,
see
with
the
white individuals.
I'd like to see
Sure,
the statistics.
you can check in Pew. And one other thing, one other cap, since the overturn of Roe, the actual abortion rate for white women has spiked.
Yeah.
And it coincides in forever in the United States, white women are taking the position of being like, homemakers and things like that. They're acting themselves. So
So the policy helps.
you
Yeah.
coincide the fact that Roe has been overturned and white women specifically are getting educated at the same level. And you see that actual things to grow.
So you're agreeing
then
that
just-
Roe
and
being
just like one other
overturned
thing.
was good for the population.
And just one other thing here. One other thing I'd also like to point out is that when I was asking you my question, would you now say it's like racist towards like white individuals? Because
Give me some examples. Yeah. How much is the white? Yeah, in the last 25 years, how much is the
Santana.
In the last,
oh, you got it. Go ahead.
in the last 15 years, it dropped from 63.8% to 59.3%.
Thank you so much. Now can I finish
And
my
that
point?
could be possibly because the population has changed in the last 25
I'd like to
years.
finish my point now. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and finish my point. All right. So like now that you're seemingly arguing that abortion is racist to white people, right? Because there's a as the white population has shrunk over like the course of like the last 20 or so years. Earlier, you were calling me a Nazi because I think that women should have access to abortion. Who's a Nazi now? You think that
But
you
you're
want
trying to put words in my
moment.
mouth.
Who's a Nazi now? I mean, now are you going to say that you want to infringe on the human rights of like white women and ban them from accessing abortion so we could have more white babies? That's pretty Nazi, man. That's pretty Hitler, dude.
Yeah, so you're going to keep muting me. Okay. Well, no, I was making the point that exactly what founder of the Planned Parenthood intended on happening happened. And I would encourage all of your viewers to look up Margaret Sanger on TikTok and research her theories, and see if that's not exactly what's going on today. Anybody with a half a brain will research her and figure out what Planned Parenthood is about.
How long was Margaret Sanger dead before they actually started to do the first abortions?
That's irrelevant. The consequence is the same.
Answer the question. How long was she dead before people started to have normal access to abortions?
I'm not positive about that, but I am positive that
it was a massive gap.
Okay.
The intended consequence by Margaret Sanger has.
Sorry, I muted you because I don't really care about you repeating yourself for the 25th time. So I just want to clarify here. I think that it's a human rights violation to infringe on a woman's access to abortion. So are you saying that we should disproportionately infringe on the human rights of black women to stop racism?
So you're saying that it's a human right to kill your offspring?
Yeah, I think that
And
it's a
I
human right to
disagree.
access abortion. Well, I mean, I could give an
Yeah, I
argument for that.
disagree with that.
I could give an argument
So
for
what?
that.
Okay.
Listen, here's my argument for that. I think that it's a human rights violation to infringe on somebody's bodily autonomy without any good reason. A good example of infringing on somebody's bodily autonomy without good reason would be like kidnapping. Okay, like obviously you're infringing on their human rights. And I'd say in the context of like limiting a woman's access to bodily autonomy, that's just what she can and can't do with her body. So then the question
Okay,
would be, do you
and
have good reason to make that infringement? And obviously, because I don't think that there's any identifiable characteristics of a fetus that make that fetus morally valuable, there thereby be no good reason, right, to like limit a woman's autonomy over her own body and stopping her access to abortion. Thereby, we would conclude here that it is a human rights violation. So then, once again, the question is: are you saying in order to like end racism in America, we need to disproportionately infringe on the human rights of Black people?
I'm saying that we should not infringe on the human rights
Okay,
of
so then,
unborn babies.
so I don't think
They're
that
humans too,
so I don't, I
know,
don't, I don't think that that fetus has the human right to life. Why do you think that?
because it's got its own DNA. That's not the mother's DNA. That is a separate human. Why does age
Yeah.
determine whether it's human or not? No, not at all. It's a human.
So any human that's biologically alive has the human right to life?
Uh, yes, to an extent.
Okay, so brain dead patients, they're biologically alive, they're human. According to you, they now have the right to life. So then when a doctor pulls them off of life support, they're committing murder?
Okay, if the doctor determines that they're brain dead and there's no potential for any brain activity,
Yeah.
but that's the difference. A fetus
But
has
that-
potential for brain activity.
Wait, but even though a brain dead patient doesn't have potential for future brain activity, they're still human and alive, meaning under your view, they still have the right to life.
No, under medical,
Hey,
under the
hold on one
medical
second.
view.
Sorry,
Hold
sorry.
on, I'm
One second.
talking.
Hold on one
I'm
second,
talking.
really quick, Dean. Now that he's moved off the racist talking point, I'll drop and you can continue the dog walking because like he's cooked.
Well,
He's cooked, bud.
I appreciate
Not
you for
at
coming
all.
up. I appreciate you for
I
coming up with the facts,
stated the
Santana. You're
facts,
awesome.
man.
Absolutely. I'll see you.
Yeah, you take care, man. So do you want to respond to
Yeah.
that? Brain dead patients, they're biologically alive. That's a fact. And they're human, according to you, have a right to life.
No,
meaning
medically,
blood.
a medical doctor will tell you if there's no brain activity and no potential for brain activity, they're dead.
Yeah, they would
That's
be
what
medical. So they're medically
That's
dead.
what most medical
Yeah,
technicians will
so
tell you.
So they're medically dead the moment they're brain dead, because there's just like no utility in saying that they're medically
No
alive.
potential.
However, they're still
No
biologically
potential.
alive. They're not biologically dead. Medical death and biological death aren't identical.
Okay, but if the brain activity is dead, the soul, the human is dead.
Okay, no.
But
So biologically speaking, that's not true. Because like I already said, medical death and biological death are two separate things. The reason why they rule
Okay.
medical death at like brain death is because there's no were alive, and in fact more utility in treating them as if they were dead, like prepping for like pulling the plug, prepping for like organ transfer, preparing for the funeral, so on and so forth. That's why we consider brain dead patients to be medically dead. Okay, but once again, it only has to do with the utility of that declaration and nothing to do with if they're biologically alive or not. So biological death is separate and non-identical to medical death. And a
But the
brain dead
difference
patient,
is-
although they are still biologically alive. So in fact, they are still biologically alive human beings. So in
But the
accordance with your
difference
position,
is-
they would have the human right to life, meaning that when you pull the plug on
No.
them, it's murder. And I know what you're about to say. Well, but the difference
Yeah.
is they don't have any future potential, and a fetus does have
Exactly.
future potential. You're right, sir. That is a difference, but that is an irrelevant difference to your position.
No,
that
it's not
was-
irrelevant.
It
It's
is
not
irrelevant
irrelevant at
difference.
all.
Listen to what I have to say here. That is an irrelevant difference, and the reason that is an irrelevant difference is because you did not say the fetus has a right to life because of its future. You said the fetus has a right to life because it's biologically alive and human now.
Okay, and if it has potential to live, it's got potential to life, which means that we shouldn't kill it. It should have human rights like the rest of us.
Oh, okay, so now you're shifting your perspective from all humans that are biologically alive to possessing the human right to life to just saying that merely humans with a future possess the right to life, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, well, then everyone's confused and you're making no sense.
Okay, and I'm saying that if human life inside the womb, that baby's got its own DNA. That is a separate human from the mother.
All right, so does a
It
brain
don't
dead
share
patient?
the same. What's that?
So does a brain dead patient. All of a sudden, we're not looking at a difference.
Okay, but the brain dead patient has no future
Yeah,
because
you're right.
the brain dead is completely brain dead.
Right, you're right. The brain dead patient doesn't have
human
a future.
fetus.
But I thought that you just told me the reason why the fetus has a right to life isn't because of the fetus's future, but is rather because the fetus is a biologically alive human.
It's both.
Oh, so it does have to do the future. So when I asked you if that fetus has the right to life because it's a human with a future, and you said no, you meant to say yes, and you're just confused.
Maybe so. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, okay. All right. So what is in the future of that fetus that gives it the right to life now?
Life.
Life, like experiences, subjective experience, conscious experiences?
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Let's go to the
Okay.
old.
So I guess we'll pivot, whatever.
The old status quo.
I'm following you.
Same
I'm following you.
Same subject. Same status quo. If somebody murders a pregnant woman, do they get charged with 2 murders?
Yes, and they should.
And they should.
That is completely compatible with the pro-choice view. That is completely compatible. That is completely compatible with a pro-choice view, by the way.
Well, I thought that it was just a clump of cells.
So it's a human. It's just not unjustified to kill it.
Right? Okay, there you go. It's a human.
Right. But
okay, so
I don't think it's unjustified to kill that human. And I would define murder as the unjust termination of human life. Okay. I'd say when a woman is accessing abortion, it's justified, not only because a fetus lacks moral value, but also because she's enacting upon her right to bodily autonomy, and she's cutting off the supply of her bodily resources to that fetus with her consent and will. When a non-consenting third party walks up to a pregnant woman, kills that pregnant woman and the fetus, even if that woman doesn't consent to that fetus dying, well, all of a sudden it is unjustified to kill that fetus, not because that fetus has moral value, but rather because you don't have the consent of the woman.
Okay, but
right? Which would technically
the
fulfill the
father,
definition of murder, which is the unjust termination of human life, thereby making the view that it's double homicide to kill a pregnant woman completely compatible with a pro-choice worldview. Okay? Because the reason that we're saying it's like still unjustified to kill that fetus, thereby murder, is not because the fetus is morally valuable, but for the last time, because I'm going to repeat myself, unjustified because you're infringing upon the woman's desires.
And what if the father feels like it's unjustified for the mother to kill his offspring?
Oh yeah, well then that father's wrong and he could cope and cry and whine. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Well, why? It's his body too. He's going to pay child support for 18 years if she decides to have it and he don't want it.
Wait, I thought that you said the fetus is unique and separate from the body of the woman. Now you're saying it's not unique nor separate from the body of the man?
I didn't say that at all. No, it's still a life and it's still separate. But it's
Wait, which one is it? Is it separate or is it part of their body?
It's separate.
Okay, all right. So if
it's not a part of their body.
Okay, so then why did you say it was a part of his body?
Because he's going to work for 18 years to make sure that that child's taken care of.
Okay,
so without choice, that's by law.
If I was a part of my dad's body when I was a fetus, am I still a part of my dad's body today?
I didn't say you were a part of your dad or your mom's
yes, you
body.
Did. You said it, quote unquote, his body too.
No, I said it's his body that's going to be working. So the dad shouldn't have a choice.
The dad should have a choice in if the woman aborts a fetus or not. No.
Okay, should he have a choice whether he pays child support or not?
No, he shouldn't.
Oh, okay. So the mom should have a choice, but dad shouldn't.
Yeah, the woman should have a choice to abort, and the man shouldn't have a choice to care for his offspring and his child, given the fact that his offspring and his child is brought into the world around us. And I mean,
so
if you think that this is
yourself.
Yes, if you think that this is contradictory, then you don't actually care about children. And the reason why I'd say that is because a father or a mother paying child support to care after their valuable born kid has nothing to do with the other parent and is all to do for caring about the quality of life for that morally significant child. Okay, right?
Now, if the mother doesn't feel like paying for it, she can kill it. But if the father doesn't feel like paying for it, the state makes him pay for it anyway.
Yeah, so if the fetus dies before it's morally significant,
you're contradicting yourself.
Well,
I mean,
sure. It seems like a contradiction if you only let me say one word.
No, it is a contradiction.
Well, it's not a contradiction. I'll happily explain you why as soon as you let me speak.
Do I?
I mean, it's not a contradiction. I can tell you how as soon as you let me speak, and you seem to be having an issue with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. No, it's absolutely hilarious. I hear this all the time from the right, where they try to like reduce everything down to one dimension and yes or no's, so then they can make something that is not contradictory by ignoring the nuance. It's just a terrible perversion of reason and fact and logic, and we see it all the time. So I'll try to explain this to you, but you're just gonna have to sit down, shut up, and not interrupt me so we could explore the nuance together. All right. So before like 20 through 24 weeks, the fetus doesn't possess subjective experiences nor consciousness, meaning that I don't think it's a morally significant life form. And because that fetus is domiciled in the woman's uterus and reliant on her bodily resources to live, that woman has a special right to terminate the life of that fetus by evicting it from her uterus and revoking consent from said domicile and revoking consent from said bodily resources. Now, this right is special to the woman because it's in her body and it is not in the body of the man. And this alternate version of reality where like conception and pregnancy was not unique to the woman, but rather mutually shared by the man and woman, then the man and woman would have that right, as it is both of their bodies. But in this reality, shit's unfair, right? It is only growing in the body of the woman and not growing in the body of the man. So therefore, before 20 to 24 weeks, right, in my mind, a woman is doing absolutely nothing wrong by accessing elective lethal abortion. Now, after that point, that child is morally significant, and there is a duty of care and a parental obligation that would fall on both the mother and the father. After that point, if that child is born and brought into this world, right, the mother has that duty of care and so does the father. Meaning that there's absolutely nothing contradictory of saying before that duty of care exists, before that child is morally significant, a woman is doing nothing wrong by accessing abortion. Yet after that child's morally significant, after that duty of care exists, then the father absolutely does have an obligation to look after his child, rather it's raising that child or paying or like paying money to the mother if he decides to up and leave.
So he shouldn't have the choice to up and leave and not take care of the kid.
Right, because that duty of care exists for both parents the moment that child is morally significant. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I disagree with that, but that's a good point. I mean, it's a fair point.
Wait, you don't think that a
It's fair.
duty of care would exist for both parents to care for their child the moment
Well,
the
I
child's
think it
morally
takes
significant?
both parents to make the. I think it takes both parents to make the choice. Therefore, should be both, or to make the child. So therefore, it should be both parents' choice on whether to have the child or not.
Yeah, how many people did it take to build the car you drive every day?
I have no clue.
Right, maybe like a couple hundred to assemble it, paint it, configure it, so on and so forth.
Yeah, maybe.
So would you say that every single one of like those couple hundred people that were involved in the production of your vehicle have a say over your vehicle today?
Dude, that has nothing to do with two parents who have made a baby. You're comparing
Well,
apples
it's actually
and-
like it's actually pretty comparable, right? Because right, the
Not
contractual so the contractual obligation was for them to build it, they own it, then they sell it to you. Very similarly, right, the moment a man's sperm leaves his penis and goes into the body of a woman, well, all of a sudden, right, that contract for sex is over, and what happens next only falls on the woman insofar if she wants to get an abortion or not. And if she doesn't want to get an abortion, well, then that father's going to have to pick up that duty of care for his child if his child is brought into this world, just like the mother would.
And that's where I disagree. I think
Okay,
that
well then,
if
so then you don't,
anything,
so then
it
you
should
don't
be
think
okay.
that both parents have a duty of care to their children? What?
Well, I actually think that both parents do have a duty of care to their children, and
Okay,
that's
so then if
why
a man up
I'm
and leaves,
for-
yes, he has to pay child support.
Well, and that's why I'm against abortion altogether. Not to mention the population control issues.
Oh,
the
because you think that
eugenics part.
duty, because you think that that duty of care would exist from the moment of conception. But I've already given you a compelling argument to believe otherwise, right? That compelling argument to believe otherwise would be the fact is I don't think it's our DNA that makes us morally valuable. I don't think it's our species classification that makes us morally valuable. I think it's our unique ability to subjectively interact in the world around us that makes us morally valuable. And that ability doesn't exist inside of the fetus until 20 through 24 weeks with the thymocortical connections, allowing for low levels of sentience. So it is only at that point that I believe a duty of care would exist, making that fetus morally significant, thereby, in my mind, deeming elective lethal abortions as morally wrong.
Okay, and what we can do is agree to disagree on the subject.
Well, what we're agreeing to
And
disagree
before
on is...
before I let
moment,
you
I just
go-
want to add on there. What we're agreeing to disagree on is my position, that is not contradictory, my position that doesn't entail any absurdities, and my position, which is best for women's rights, best for girls, and best for children, best for everyone, and then your position, which is like riddled with a plethora
not
of
best for the one that
contradictions.
gets killed.
Well, I mean,
It's not best for the baby that gets killed.
well, actually, so the fetus that gets killed doesn't even have a well-being, as there's no like conflict of interests and or desires, meaning that you can't do anything that's best for them, as they don't have a well-being to be cared for. Right?
There's
That's like saying
potential for
that you
life.
like there's like things that you can do that are like best for a rock. There's things that you could do that are like best for a blade of grass. There's things I could do that is like best for this cup. Obviously, it's nonsensical and seemingly gibberish to say those things because a rock, this cup, a blade of grass, they don't possess a well-being, right? And I think that very similarly, a fetus lacks a well-being, meaning that you can't do what's best for it.
Yeah, well, I think that when there's potential for life and potential for a good life, that it's a life. That you're taking a life is what the way I feel about it.
Right, but
Which we can
so
agree
you
to
like you take
disagree.
lives when you hunt. You take you pay for the taking of lives when you buy chicken or pork from a fast food stop. You take lives when you like I don't know cut a flower to give to your wife. Right, we're not necessarily like saying that taking life is wrong. So then how could we tell when it is wrong to take life? And I'd say that would fall down to a delineation. Well, is this life significant in the sense? Does it have a conscious experience? Can it interact with the world around itself? Right? Can it operate at a higher level of rationale? And all those things would be true of like humans, particularly humans like you and me. And I believe that subjective experience and the ability to deploy those subjective experiences through a mind would start at like 20 through 24 weeks. It's really not complicated when you just spend like more of a second thinking about it. And the reason why there's still so many like shitty pro-life men is because like you don't have like any like emotional attachment to like abortion. You don't have any emotional attachment to pregnancy, since you're not the one that has ever or will ever experience it. And you think very like one-dimensionally about the subject here. You just say taking life, therefore wrong, and it's just completely.
And that's not true.
How many kids do I have? I have 0 kids.
Never experienced pregnancy with your.
I've never been pregnant.
And I have,
because I'm
and
not a
man,
father.
it's special. It's special.
So I shouldn't be able to talk about the subject because I don't have kids. Therefore, you shouldn't be able to talk about the subject because you don't have a uterus. Damn, you walked straight into that one, man.
No, it's nothing to do with the uterus.
Oh, okay. Well, then my lack of kids has nothing to do with it. Then my lack of kids has nothing to do with it. Then my lack of kids has nothing to do with it. Don't try to play that fucking card, sir.
Well, you're saying that a man don't have the experience of being pregnant when
that's right. You don't.
To an extent, they do.
You don't. No, you don't. Absolutely, you don't.
Okay. Well, we'll just agree to disagree. But I will say,
come on. No, listen. This is like the shittiest claim ever. Okay, imagine that you have never eaten avocado toast in your life. Okay, you've never eaten avocado toast, but you have a wife, and your wife's favorite food is avocado toast. Could we say here, just because your wife has experienced eating avocado toast, that even though you have never experienced eating avocado toast, that you understand the experience of eating avocado toast?
Yeah, avocado toast is a lot different from
we wouldn't be able to say there that you have experienced eating avocado toast just because your wife has. So therefore, why would we be able to say that you have experienced pregnancy just because your wife has?
Yeah, no, she's definitely got a more detailed experience for sure. But
no, it's not even a more detailed experience, right? It is the only firsthand experience. Your wife is the only individual experiencing firsthand the process of pregnancy and the process of giving birth. Sure, you could have secondhand observations of that experience by gaining information about it, by being with your wife, so on and so forth.
Okay, and I agree with that.
A secondhand experience is not a firsthand experience.
And I'll agree with that, but it's still a special experience to experience your kids rolling around in their belly and kicking and all that. I mean, it's your offspring. I mean, how anybody can kill their offspring is still a mystery to me. But anyway, my main point for being against abortion is because it's Nazi philosophy, whether you like it or not. Look up Margaret Sanger and research her, man.
Yeah, no. We already went through this, right? You want to end racism in America by disproportionately infringing on the human rights of black women.
No, I just want to quit. I just want to quit controlling the population of the African American community
by starting to control the bodies of women and girls. Got it.
No, not controlling them.
All right,
Dean. It was good talking to you, man.
Yeah, you take care. We're gonna go to get that next guest loaded up into the box, guys. Go ahead and hop in.